Welcome to the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the original food service equipment repair podcast built by technicians for technicians. Whether you're on the front lines of repair, keeping the kitchen running smoothly, or just passionate about the food service repair industry, this podcast is your go-to source for expert insight, tech tips, and real stories from the field.
What's up, everybody? I am at Parstown, and I'm sitting down with John Warpinski, Senior Director of Customer Partnerships for the HVAC Division. John's been here for a little over a year, 2 years now? Maybe
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And he's helping drive that HVAC business that Parstown's really getting involved in. So we're going to talk about his history before he came here, what he's doing here, and what the vision is for Parstown and the HVAC side. So what's going on, John?
Oh, not too much. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate spending time with you today. You asked about my background, and I come from the HVAC space, past history, done project management, account management, project sales. So very familiar with all things HVAC.
Sweet. So you're not just some guy that came in and said, hey, I'm going to work on the HVAC side.
Nope.
You understand the product, you understand the customer's needs, the technician's needs, so you're really helping drive that. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. We've dealt with kind of every application possible.
So if you guys don't know, Partstown is the global leader in commercial cooking equipment, kitchen equipment, parts and distribution. Headquartered right here in Addison, Illinois, just opened up in Arizona, a second hub. They're partners with a ton of service companies, a ton of manufacturers. It's a really cool place. It's really awesome place to visit. If you ever get a chance to come up here and get a tour, I suggest you guys do it because it's super cool. The miles, the conveyors back there, the robots, the people, the environment, everybody's always happy and smiling. And it's so cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the culture is such a big part of our business. We want to make sure we're hiring the right people, that they come to work happy every day, they actually enjoy being here. So, it doesn't matter what position you're in, we want, team players that are going to be, working hard day in and day out.
That's cool, that's cool. I see it all the time. This is, I think, my 4th NRA coming up, and every time I come up here, I see the same people I've seen before, new people, smiling faces, and they're all happy. And
yeah.
They're always happy to see people come in and do tours, and it's cool. They have a lot of pride to work here. So.
Yep. Especially during these weeks, NRA is a really cool time of the year for us. We like to be involved and do the tours and, bring our customers by to really see what we do, the way we've changed year after year.
That's cool. So let's get into your specific role. Mm-hmm. HVAC. It's kind of a newer area Partstown's getting involved in. Let's just talk about how it came about and then what you do with it.
Yeah, so coming out of COVID, there was a need for HVAC distribution, and there was major holes in the supply chain. We had many requests from our customers that wanted us to enter the space, and it really wasn't something that we had done before. But I had found a job posting from Partstown that said they were looking for someone to enter the help grow the HVAC space. I applied, was a perfect fit, and so we started this about 2.5 years ago with essentially no HVAC manufacturers, no sales, and now we've grown to almost 100 different manufacturers, HVAC manufacturers, and really trying to ensure that we have the parts that our customers need to support their businesses.
That's really cool. So, you guys are just like every other supply house, but just bigger and you can ship everywhere across the country.
Yeah, the nice part is because we don't sell equipment, we aren't really bound by territory.
Yeah.
So we can actually ship nationally, even internationally, to ensure that our customers have, the support and that we are able to provide.
That's a great point because, if I need a part for a specific manufacturer, I got to figure out who's a rep in this area for their area. Go there and hope they have it. Sometimes you can get, capacitors, you can get a different one instead of OEM and it'll work and it may get you by. But, being able that you guys can carry 100 different lines and ship anywhere across the country is pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's definitely that need for that one-stop shop.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that there's still going to be a need for those brick and mortar shops. You have something that you need to get fixed right away. Your customer's down that day. We completely understand. But for those times where you're quoting something out, for those times where something may be on back order, we really strive to be that alternative resource. We want people to think, oh, I can check Parts Town. And see if they have it. They have everything. That's ultimately what the mindset we want to have our customers think.
Yeah, that's cool, because you have about everything. If you don't have it, you can get it pretty fast.
Yeah.
I've learned that throughout the years. I've used you guys before I even became part of the Parts Town family. I've always used your guys' app. It's always top notch. There's always stuff on there. It was super easy to use, and you guys have come up with some new stuff as far as the HVAC side. You guys offer that scanner now? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the cool features that we're in development with is something called the data plate scanner. And so right now it's live for York, Train, and Carrier, I believe. It's still in beta, but ultimately we want to have the ability on our mobile app to scan a data tag of an HVAC unit, eventually all data tags, and it pulls up the parts for that unit so that there's no questioning what the motor is, there's no questioning what the heat exchanger is, or any part in general. What we're really trying to focus on is creating technician efficiency to reduce the amount of calls and reduce the questioning and ensuring that you don't have to go back to that supply shop or whatever. We're just really trying to help the technician community.
Yeah, that's really cool. That it's going to pull up everything specific to that exact one. So do you guys partner with the manufacturers to make sure everything's in line and database and stuff like that?
Yeah, we're only as good as our information. So we really rely on our manufacturer partnerships, especially our strong ones, to help us provide that information.
So how are the manufacturers as far as becoming involved? Parts Town, were they open, receptive, or was it a little bit of questioning at first? I mean, I know it's a new venture for a lot of these manufacturers, and some manufacturers are kind of particular, and I'm not knocking anybody, but it's just like, hey, do we want to do this or not? And there may be a little kickback, but I think it's probably pretty receptive for them.
Yeah, Parts Town is just kind of a unique situation because all we want to do is sell parts, and so the manufacturers, they were unfamiliar from the HVAC standpoint. Might have been a little unfamiliar with who we are, but they were very quick to change and see our value and the value that we bring to support their customers. Look, I mean, from a manufacturer standpoint and our standpoint, the whole goal is to make sure that we get OEM parts to the market fast. When we talk about those supply chain issues before, the manufacturers, are looking to solve that as well. They want to focus on equipment, that's what their strength is, and we want to focus on the parts and really be that, basically another arm for the manufacturers to, support their customers for full, for the full lifespan of the unit. Yeah,
it's just a little different model than we're used to, like you said, because it's territories and people sell that equipment, they sell the parts for that equipment. You guys, you're not selling equipment, you're selling parts.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, your equipment name is always good as the parts that back it up.
Absolutely.
And if you have trouble getting parts, that just makes your name look bad.
Yeah.
So this is just another great advantage for these manufacturers to get the parts out there even faster. So that's really cool. Yeah. So how many years do you have experience in the industry? I know you said you've been here 2.5 years and you did the consulting and the sales roles before, but how long have you been in the HVAC industry?
Yeah, I've been in the HVAC industry for about 8 years now. I've enjoyed every second of it. Was in food service before that. But like I said, I've seen a lot, from working with a couple different mechanical contractors. So been in high rises in downtown Chicago, been in industrial plants, been in manufacturing. So kind of really seen all applications of HVAC, where stuff fits, not, more than just kind of the residential light commercial market.
So what made you get into the industry? Just luck you ended up finding it, or just...
Yeah, it's definitely an industry where you get to see another side of buildings and cities that no one else gets to see. When you're in downtown Chicago and you're looking at boilers, 100-year-old boilers, and you're working with a team to figure out how to replace those, or you're on a 50-story building looking over, the city, looking at their, chiller penthouse or, air handlers. I mean, it's just an incredible thing that no one realizes is there. So really fell in love with that portion of it. The challenge of, figuring out how to get items replaced, ensure that customer is fully satisfied with, that their unit, their equipment's back up and running the way it needs to be.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I always stay downtown, the same hotel every time I come down here. And I look around the rooftops and I remember, like, hey, that was different last year. What they changed on that rooftop? Or, you walk, like, we're coming from our parking garage into our hotel and, like, you see the VRF systems out there, just like, go, those are new, those weren't here last time. Yeah. It's like, it's cool to see. And most people have no idea what they're looking at. But those are the things that create comfort. They make you comfortable where you stay, provide heat, cooling, they create a civilized, society. And it's just, people don't understand it, take it for granted. And there's a ton of guys and women on the back end. They're out there servicing it, installing it, designing it. It's a really cool industry.
Yeah. One of the funny things is my wife likes to make fun of me because we go into, anytime we go on vacation, I'm always looking out the window. And she goes, "Oh, nice view." I said, "Yeah, look at those air conditioners over there. Those are really nice." So it's, you start, when you're in the industry, you start noticing it everywhere.
Yeah, I always do that with my family, my wife, and my kids. We'll go somewhere to eat. Like, I worked in here on this, and this. Or I used to be an electrician. I'll drive by an apartment complex. Like, I wired those. Funny story is, I drove by one not too long ago, and the apartment building burned down. And luckily, it wasn't electrical. It was something in the kitchen. I had to find out because I was like, oh no. It was like, it's been like 24, 25 years ago, but still. So that's always funny. But yeah. That joke is pretty true, though. Oh, I wired that. Oh, I worked on that. So it's really cool to see, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are some of the things you've done now that you're in this role here with Partstown?
Yeah, originally I was brought on to help support our current business units. All of the different, types of customers we have. I was brought in to help them be able to sell HVAC products. So when you think about who our customers are, from quick service restaurants to hotels to education, my role was to help navigate those conversations because again, it was something that we never really entered before. Now I've moved on to a role where we're actually growing maybe a new segment with mechanical contractors. And so we're looking to help support them. Like I said, not just change, expect everything to come to Partstown, but be an additional support to, an alternative for technicians to be able to find what they need in a timely fashion, empower them to, be on a roof and find a part in 2 minutes or less, so you aren't calling 4 or 5 different supply houses trying to find the parts that they need.
Or if you call them manufacturers, sometimes it's brutal. I thought it was rough in the food service world.
Yeah.
I've heard horror stories of these guys in HVAC, and like, they'll call us back in like 2 or 3 days, or we're on hold for like 4 hours. I'm like, what? Like, oh yeah. I'm like, how can they get away with that? But I mean, it's just like everything else. They're understaffed, overworked. It's just
yeah, it's definitely not the manufacturer's fault with that sort of with that. With their process, like you had mentioned, there's a severe need for people in the technical industry, whether it's food service, whether it's HVAC, whether it's electrical, plumbing. The trades are severely short right now, and it's more than just technicians. It's the people working in the supply houses, and then finding actually good people who want to learn more about the industry proves to be another challenge. People wanting to better themselves with the knowledge.
Sweet. So how's Partstown just streamlining it? They following the same examples they already had established with the restaurant side, just kind of same things?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do, right? So we want to have the parts that our customers need on hand. Again, we're trying to find that, trying to build our parts to model matching, trying to build our database of manuals. It's just not something that's been done before. And so Partstown is trying to help that so that we ensure those OEM parts are able to be found. You aren't switching to a motor that may be generic or generic capacitors, stuff that's going to fail. We want to bring that, those parts back to the OEM. So again, like you had mentioned before, their reputation is protected for the lifespan of the unit.
Yeah, I always tell everybody, like, I've used some stuff in emergency capacitor or something, but I always try to go back with the OEM one. a lot of people don't understand that, UL ratings and stuff like that. If you change it to an aftermarket part, something happens to that unit, it's now on you. It's not on the manufacturer anymore because
Absolutely.
you deviated from what they sent out. So,
Yeah.
that's a big liability a lot of people don't understand.
Absolutely, and especially with HVAC because it's out of sight, out of mind, right? As a business owner or a building owner, you don't realize maybe your unit is working improperly because an aftermarket part is failing. You only notice it when your unit shuts off, but you may actually be using more energy. It may be causing damage to your unit, but since you don't see it on a daily basis, it's not like a fryer where, hey, this isn't frying right. HVAC is a little bit more of a mystery to people.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like some of your OEM motors have like a weird RPM range.
Yes.
And that's where you kind of you'll see it, and the generics are like a 1725, and maybe the OEM's a 1750 or 1765 or something weird like that. And that little change of fan speed, a lot of people don't realize, can actually have a huge effect. It's not just this change of air; it's a change of air going across the coil, which changes the heat dissipation and stuff like that. And it really has a bigger effect than just that initial little bit of fan speed.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that a lot on some of the higher end models. Like, go back in with the original because it's designed a certain way. And I'm not a normal HVAC tech. I do it. We have some customers who do it where we don't do a ton in my market. But I try to go back to the OEM because, like, I tell everybody, I'm not an engineer. I didn't design this. I'm not trying to redesign it.
Right.
I go back in what's easiest for me because I've got enough calls, enough stuff to worry about. I don't need to worry about this stuff.
Well, you mentioned the engineering. I mean, manufacturers spend millions of dollars engineering their product, and consumers spend tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on equipment. This stuff is really expensive. Why would you want to change that or risk it by putting in those generic parts when you may reduce the life expectancy of your unit?
Yeah, that's a great point. So Parkstown is known for leveraging tech. We've talked about it a little bit, with their app. It's been the app's been money for years, and it's good to see you guys are rolling that same kind of stuff in and adding on for the HVAC side. So we've already covered that a little bit, but you got the data scanner. Are all the books going to be on the app as well? If you guys get the manuals, it'll be on there. We'll be able to access them through there as
well. As we grow and build our relationships with our manufacturers, as we come across manuals, we do upload them to the app so that you have the same functionality as kind of the food service side.
Yeah, you guys are probably try to throw a lot in there a lot faster than food service, because it kind of just grew over the years, grew, and then, hey, it's 2.5 years in HVAC. Let's see how much stuff we can cram in there.
That's right. One of the other cool things that we have is something called, My Equipment 360, where you're able to save your equipment. So if you're working on, same types of units over and over again, be able to save those manuals, be able to save those parts lists, the things that you're looking for as a technician. Again, to speed up the process. We have different tools and features in there for any level of technician.
That's cool. Yeah, that app is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then another cool feature is the 360 spin. A lot of guys, they'll just see a part number if that's it. But I like to go ahead and go into that 360 feature and look at it and make sure, because maybe it got updated and it get changed in the system or something.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be surprised when I look at this gas valve, but this gas valve doesn't look anything like it.
Right.
But I'm like, it gives me a little bit, okay, maybe I do need to call and verify that it did get changed. This is cool before I get it and I get out to the customer site, because I've been there, done that. Gone to the customer site, tear something apart, and then you open up the box, like, oh, this ain't even the same part.
Right.
Oh, then you're waiting.
Well, yeah, you want to make sure that gas valve is rated for the right pressures, and it's nice to be able to zoom in on that data tag and get the be able to read what the specs are on it to ensure you're installing that right part.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. First time I did a tour there back there, they were taking pictures of something. It's just like on this little thing, it just spins. I'm like, this is awesome. Yeah, this is really cool. So Parkstone's made a huge investment in all their technology, and it's really paid off.
Yeah.
Is there any stories that or you can remember where Parkstown's went above and beyond and set the expectation for the HVAC side? Like something that stands out in your mind, like we were able to help somebody out, or a certain relationship or anything that's developed out of it?
Yeah, probably within the first 3 months of me being at Partstown, I was on a trip to Las Vegas, and we work with many of the casinos in Las Vegas. One of our customers, we were doing a site visit, and we had asked to look at the mechanical room where they store extra parts for all of their fan coil units, the valves, things like that. And we saw a manufacturer on there of the fan coil units that they use. We didn't have it in our portfolio yet, but we saw a bunch of generic parts, generic motors for these things. We asked the customer, why are you using generic? He said, well, we can't get the OEM parts. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, as a casino, we're very limited to the manufacturer, to the distributors that we can use. And Partstown being in their portfolio for all their equipment stuff, we said, let's see what we can do. As soon as we got back, we placed a phone call to the manufacturer. We said, this is the situation. The manufacturer said, yeah, let's work together. Let's support the market, because there's a big share that we're missing. And so we brought the product in. We went back to that casino. We walked in and said, hey, we have all of your parts now. These are the part numbers, and he goes, that's great. He goes, I order $25,000 a month of these motors that are generic. And we said, well, please look our direction. If you don't like these generic motors, he goes, don't like them. He goes, these things last a quarter of the time that the OEM stuff does. Our hands are just tied. And so we said, great. We walked out of there. We didn't even make it out the door, and he had already sent over a PO for motors.
Nice.
So there's plenty of those instances that are out there where people are just limited to their distribution network when we can be that source for them.
Yeah, that's a different way to look at it, because if you're not a contractor, you're not set up with these companies. A lot of them won't even talk to you.
Absolutely.
I've ran into it in like supply houses that are a chain across the country, but I don't have, and they're individually owned, they're franchises. But if I don't have an account at that individual one, they won't sell to me. I'm like, I have an account to one across town. Well, you don't care, you don't have an account this one. I'm like, this is the most asinine thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I could spend, like, we as a company ordered thousands and thousands of dollars from you guys a month, but just because it's not this individual branch, you won't sell to me. I was like, this is. So I could see the frustration in that, definitely. Yeah. That'd be a huge point. So that's really cool. It's a big win for you guys, though, to be there for a customer.
Absolutely.
And then, it's a win-win. The customer can get OEM parts that really last, are really designed for that equipment, and you guys get to sell, and you're building that relationship with that customer. So it's a win-win for everybody. And the manufacturer is selling their parts for their equipment versus them going and buying a generic motor somewhere off the internet and sticking it in there and it's going down a month later. And then, like I said earlier, that's not designed for it.
Right.
It's dragging that name of that manufacturer down, and we're here to elevate the manufacturer with quality parts for the manufacturer, so it makes sense.
Absolutely.
So how many people are on the HVAC side team here at Partstown?
Yeah, so we have, so at Partstown we have about, I think, 9 people on the HVAC side. We're actually with our sister company, Encompass Appliance Parts. They are also focusing on residential HVAC. So they have another, I believe 6 people working on that as well.
That's cool. So you're doing everything from the big stuff to the houses.
Absolutely. We really want to support the industry. So when you have manufacturers like Carrier, Trane, York, Lennox, they're in all types of businesses.
Oh, yeah. The smallest to the biggest.
Yeah, businesses, residential houses, whatever. And so we want to ensure, again, that everybody feels supported. It's not just on the commercial side. There's a need in the residential side as well.
Yep. That's really cool to see that, it's turning into a one-stop shop for everything you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know your background in HVAC is not as a technician side, but if you were to talk to somebody, or say someone was wanting to get into the HVAC industry, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that there's definitely a need. Jump in, go to a technical school, join a union, join any which way you can. There's so many different avenues that you can go down. It's not just about being a technician. There's need for the parts counters. There's need for even HVAC, whether it's marketing or technical support in these places, or engineering. It just depends on the level that you want. But again, because it's an industry that's out of sight, out of mind, people don't think about that when they're graduating high school and figuring out the track that they want to go down. So really, we like to engage with a lot of the local colleges who have HVAC, and try to encourage their students to finish the path, that there's more than just being a technician. Sometimes the thought of working in minus 10 degree weather or 90, 100 degree weather isn't for everybody, but there's alternative paths.
Yeah.
And so whether you stumble upon it like I did, or you're focused on this is the path for you, the nice part is you can change your path. You don't have to stick with one way or the other. I never thought that I would end up in a position focused on growing a parts arm for HVAC here at Partstown, but I love every second of it, and never in my wildest dreams did I think that it would be taking me this course.
Yeah, that's the same thing I like to tell a lot of guys when they ask about my sector of the industry. We're kind of lumped in the HVAC industry, the commercial kitchen stuff, which I fully accept and love because it's a lot of the same stuff. I did an article and I showed a burner. I said, tell me if this is out of a Carrier rooftop unit or out of a South Bend oven. And no one could tell me. I was like, well, it's out of a South Bend oven, but it's the same exact in-shot burner. It's in a Carrier rooftop unit. It's like, you would never know that in 100 years. But I tell everybody the same thing. Like, look, you get in, you want to be a technician, you can end up being a manager, you can be an owner of a company, you can go into different roles, tech support, you can go work for a manufacturer and help develop new equipment, you can go into manufacturing and do tech support. I've seen a lot of guys here lately that got to the point where they've beaten their bodies up, not taking care of themselves, and they can't do the field work anymore, and they've gone to work for some great manufacturers for some amazing opportunities, and they're still in an industry they love. So there's opportunities are endless. You can go a million different directions just by starting off in the field or starting off at a trade school.
Yeah, I mean, just having the knowledge, though, right? Like, of just knowing what you're talking about, knowing what you're looking at. I mean, it does start with, schooling, learning, but continuing to learn as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. That the possibilities, you can just go wherever you want.
Absolutely.
So what's next for Partstown HVAC? What are you guys working on? It's going to be the next big thing. If you can tell me. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to have anybody from upstairs come down and find me. So
no, the next big thing is just more manufacturers. Really building up the relationships that we have. With us being new to the industry, Partstown is still a name that isn't widely known in the HVAC space, but we're really looking to make a big splash and change that. We want to make sure that we're involved in a lot of the HVAC organizations that are out there. Ensure that we're attending the right trade shows. We're just at our first ACA event, or the Air Conditioning Contractors Association of America, earlier this year, where we had kind of our first booth presence, and we're able to talk to a number of contractors to bring awareness to Partstown that we're a viable option for parts. We want to get involved more with AHR and MCAA. A lot of great organizations that are out there that are really looking to promote HVAC and the industry, and we want people to think about Partstown the same way the food service industry thinks about Partstown. Really, about promoting our image and being that support.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've seen you guys at AHR the last couple of years. It's cool to see you guys there and getting involved with ACAS and other things. You guys sponsored the Tactical Awards. You guys were sponsored that. It was really cool. I was proud to see the parts down on the table and stuff. I was taking pictures and sending it into the social media team because I was helping load the bags up and stuff. And we were putting the Partstown flag in there, and I had a little bit of pride. I was like, hey, I helped facilitate this.
That's great.
It's good to see that something I had a part of and something I hold a big part of my life is Partstown and USG, and to see them get involved with things I love, like the Tactical Awards, because that's a great opportunity to give back. They're taking people that are just behind the scenes and putting out, showing their work off or helping train the next generation of techs, and they're just giving them a night where we dress up. There's guys in tuxedos, women in crazy dresses. It was an amazing night, and people are up there getting awards, up there crying on stage. It's the wildest thing. I won one year. I was nominated last year. It's just cool to see like people you interact with online just showing up their work, having pride in their work, and just to see them get celebrated and win an award. And then just to see Partstown's name was involved in that, see it there on the banner and stuff, I was like, this is awesome. So
that's great. Yeah, I mean, just again, I mean, for you to notice that, for other people to notice that, for someone who doesn't know Partstown, just go, who's Partstown?
Yeah.
And Google us. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And we want our name to be synonymous with HVAC as well.
That's cool. Yeah, it was a fun night, and I was like, because I remember I talked to Ben. I was like, hey Ben, reach out to these people. I said, see what they can do. I said they're trying to get involved with the HVAC side. They're trying to grow. This is what they do. They offer. And I reached out to him. I was like, hey, did you hear anything back? He's like, we had a little conversation, but I didn't hear whether it was yes or no. And then he sent me a thing. I was like, hey, Partstown logo's on there. They said yes. I was like, this is awesome. So I was really excited to see that, man. It's I know Partstown loves giving back and helping grow the industry and other charities as well. I mean, Tech Awards aren't a charity, but it's cool to see them helping recognize the guys and gals in the industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, if you could change one thing in the HVAC distribution model, what would it be?
In the HVAC distribution model, that is a very good question. It's getting parts to the market and ensuring that parts availability is there. In the past, I believe that technicians and the way that people buy parts, HVAC parts, they've been doing things the same way ever since air conditioning was invented, right? I go to the job site, I look at the work, I go to my supply shop, I go pick up my parts, I go back to the job site. With the shortage of technicians, with the lack of parts in there because there's so many different types of equipment now, so many different brands. These local distributors don't always have everything. The technician, maybe doesn't always have time to do the things that they need to do to ensure that the customer is taken care of. So, I would wish that people would just think about things a little bit differently. Where does online buying come into play? How much time and money is actually spent by driving to that local supply shop, by shipping, intercompany transfers for those manufacturers around the country? How can we reduce a lot of that friction that's out there and make it a little bit more seamless? It'll help everybody become more efficient, make more money, and if Partstown can help drive some of that, we're happy to be part of it.
Yeah, and with the app, if you guys haven't downloaded the app and play with it.
Yeah.
You don't have to send an account up. You can just get on there and play with it. And I've used it, like I said, for years before I started working for a Partstown company. I've always used it, but you can literally be on site, scan that unit, scan that data tag, find your part, order that part, and everything right from your phone.
Absolutely.
And in a matter of minutes, you can have that part on the way. And then, you guys ship same day as long as it's ordered by what,
9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's same day shipping up till 9 p.m. That's crazy.
Absolutely, and that's even with, you still get next day air, 2 day, 2 day air. However you want to have it shipped. I mean, if you can wait the 3 days, fine. But typically, a technician can get a unit back up and limping along, right, for at least 24 hours. And then just have the part overnighted and go back and install it the next day. Reducing that travel time to that local shop. I mean, how many more jobs can you get done if you just cut out the hour or two out of your day for each job that you go to the local supply shop?
Yeah. I mean, in certain markets, I mean, okay, the supply house is 5 miles away, but that's still maybe an hour drive based on traffic.
Yeah, you sat in traffic today here in Chicago, so.
I was going out of town, and going into town looked even worse. So I was like, what's going on? By the time I get there, there's nothing there. And I'm like, where does traffic come from?
Yeah, but if you think about all the major metropolitan areas, whether it's Chicago, whether it's New York, LA, all the big cities that are out there, the amount of time that technicians spend in vans, yeah, it's nice to get that break out of that 90-degree air, minus 10-degree air, but sitting in traffic, the risk of accidents, all of that stuff that becomes liabilities to getting the job done, maybe unnecessary.
Yeah. There's something that you can wait a day, or you can get left alone, or it's halfway run. Just come back the next day when the part comes, or 2 days later. As long as it's not affecting anything else for the customer, I mean, you're good to go there.
Yeah.
So. All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think I do.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
John, I appreciate your time as always, man.
Appreciate it.
You're always open to talk to me. It's always good to see you. It's always good to come in Parstown and to talk to people. These people in here really do enjoy their job. They really do care about helping out the people. It's refreshing to see.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on your podcast. It's really an honor to be here, and really enjoyed talking to you today.
Yeah, I wanted to do it in person, and I'm finally glad to get to do it, because I do it online all the time, but it's funner in person. We're sitting here interacting. We don't have the headphones on. We're not in the little bitty screens. It's always cool just to sit down and talk to people. And I wanted to come up for you guys' big open house you guys had, but I had something going on that day. I couldn't make it, unfortunately. So if you have another one, give me a little more heads up, and I will come down and hang out for the day. So.
Awesome.
Thanks, John.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicles@gmail.com. Or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.